Hello, wildlings. I'm your Creep Smith, and you found my Fear Forge. Lucky you.
Why, hello, wildlings. Today we have another twofer, Ganzfield. Originally it was the Ganzfield Attempt and the Ganzfield Experiment by Evravon 53. Before I begin, I'll explain what the Ganzfield Experiment is. This experiment was used as a technique to test for ESP ability, or extrasensory perception. It was used in the field of parapsychology, which was big back in the 1970s. The point of the effect is to put you into sensory deprivation, which is the removal of stimuli to your senses. This is usually done by putting half ping pong balls over a subject's eyes and having red light shown over them. The subject also wears a pair of noise-isolating headphones and has white or pink noise played loudly into the phones. This goes on for about 30 minutes, and a person tries to send a message to the subject by speaking to the person while everything is recorded by hand or by video. We made a few alterations to the procedures to better fit the equipment that we had to work with. We used a bed instead of a chair. We spoke to him for only 10 minutes out of the recording time, but we kept under sensory deprivation the same way as the original experiment. I came up with the idea of trying this when I found a red light bulb and a ping pong ball upstairs in the dormitory. When I came up with the idea, my roommate Travis had wanted this to be done to him because apparently there have been reports that strange things happen to people within the Ganzfield effect, and I'm pretty sure he just wanted an artificial high without paying for drugs. The experiment was kind of interesting. Most of it was recorded, definitely the parts that were of interest. I may or may not upload the video, however. The recording quality is abysmal. Regrettably, 4 other people heard that we were doing the experiment and decided to come in and watch. We started with 2 laptops, broadcasting the white noise just in case one or the other crashed. The spectators became a major distraction. This was because before they started, Travis had said that he hoped that the effect caused him pornographic hallucinations. When Travis went under, and I knew he couldn't hear them, they left around minute 15. We, my other roommate Paul, stayed and decided to extend the experiment out to 45 minutes rather than the original 30. At minute 20, Travis raised his arms and seemed to mutter to himself. This caught us by surprise. I let this continue for about another minute before starting to ask him questions. Totally random ones, such as, where are you from? What are you doing? Why are you here? And he responded to all of them, right at the time you'd expect, and he would sometimes be writing in the air with his right hand. It wasn't until the end of the recording time where Travis began to answer the questions that I asked him. Even though he wasn't answering them strictly correctly, he usually did address the question. But then he started asking me questions. Eerie things like, who are they? A few times he asked that one, as well as, why are they here? When are they coming? And worst of all, can they be stopped? I came up with random answers, kind of disturbed by this. After asking him, who are you referring to? And getting no response other than them or they, I let him write in the air for another few minutes before switching the lights back on. Afterwards, I asked Travis what he remembered. He said that he remembered his vision going black, but not all the way. This is what you'd expect him to remember. Then he said having a creepy experience. He said he was possibly dreaming or hallucinating, visualizing normal socializing, but remembering nothing else. We had all of the conversation that we'd had recorded, and he didn't remember any of it. He had no idea why he said the things he said or how he was able to hear. This whole thing creeped me out. It doesn't anymore. Travis, though, he hasn't been himself since that day. I've become disconnected from him since then. We're not roommates anymore. I would always remind him of the experiment when I met him, though, fooling with him, saying, "Your strong subconscious will eventually steal your whole mind, and you'll cease to be Travis and just be some insane being." And that horrified him. I still feel guilty about that. But things like this experiment, they just aren't natural. I think this is something we all need to face and stop trying to disprove these happenings. There are just some things in this world you can't explain. Hello, it's Ever again. And yeah, I'm gonna give the Ganzfield experiment another try here. Now, since this experiment can yield some interesting, sometimes scary results, I thought I could talk a bit more about what's behind my story. This is something that you can do with family or friends, that's what we did, and I'm pretty sure it won't cause any permanent damage to your brain, unless your house is haunted or you're open to spirits or something like that. The original purpose of the experiment is to test for ESP, extrasensory perception. Pretty much it's there to see if someone's a psychic. This was big back in the 60s and 70s. Now, people just do it to see what happens or to have fun. In order to do this, you'll need a ping pong ball split evenly in half, a good pair of noise-isolating headphones, a comfortable chair, and some sort of sound recording, pink or white noise, preferably white noise. One way you can find it is to go to simplynoise.com. You'll also need a good source of red light, and as you can see in the picture, you want to put the ping pong balls over your eyes and have the red light shone over you so that you see nothing but red. You'll have white noise playing in your headphones so that the noise will be the only thing that you can hear. Make sure that you have a companion. Someone needs to be with you. Have the person ask you questions. Most importantly, don't fall asleep during the experiment. During many of my experiments, people would hallucinate, and you never know what's going to happen in a dream state. Some descriptions of these hallucinations were pretty interesting. Sometimes the results were just plain creepy, such as, for a while, I saw nothing but bluish-grayish fog. I thought to myself, this is nonsense. But after a while, I switched off, went completely absent-minded. All of a sudden, I was holding some chalk. I was writing some kind of math formula, and this was all really clear. Then, it disappeared. Another one was, I can see his face. It's really, really expressive. Lots of colors. Another one was, to the right, a mannequin suddenly appeared. He was all in black. He had a narrow head, fairly broad shoulders, long arms, very long arms, and a relatively small trunk. He approached me, stretching out his hands, very large, very big hands. He stayed for a while and then went away, slowly, where he came from. Some of my friends think this last one is a reference to Slender Man, but I don't know. Now, somewhat less than half the time in my experiments, the subject would speak. Most of the time, you'd have no idea what they were talking about. But a few times, I'd ask them questions, and they'd answer at the right time and addressing the question correctly. It's really neat, but it's strange. I mean, there's no way to explain it since they can't actually hear you. Go ahead, try it. There are also a few theories about how you can contact spirits in this state, or about how your subconscious mind comes to life through these experiments. Here's what I think. Ganzfield phenomena is associated with PSI, psi. I don't mean pounds per square inch. I mean the 23rd letter of the Greek alphabet, the one that refers to all kinds of psychic phenomena, experiences or events that are related to the mind and can't be explained by known principles. Psi is fairly paranormal and can't be explained. Therefore, Ganzfield phenomena can't be very well explained. I also think that these phenomena aren't the only things associated with psi either. Monks can meditate for days at a time without eating or sleeping. Oracles from long ago and priests that pray for hours have visions that are all associated with the same phenomena, psionic phenomena. This is all really cool stuff, and even though nobody I've met can explain it, I've just come to accept it. Some people have had terrifying experiences, but nobody's ever been damaged or stuck in a trance or anything. If you're into paranormal reality theories like I am, then I encourage you to try this out. See, I wouldn't consider this one a scary creepypasta. I'd just consider it curiosity in expression. And that, as you all should know by now, is the gateway drug. Stay scary, my wildlings, and make the most of your nights.